Hello, today I'm going to be doing a live whiteboarding challenge with you guys. So I'm going to walk through step by step how I would go through a whiteboarding challenge if I were to do it. So first, hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a senior UX designer, and I feel like recently I've been a part of a lot of whiteboarding challenges, mostly just sitting in on challenges with my organization during an interview. And I feel like I've picked up a lot of tips and tricks along the way, so I thought I'd share them with you. First, when I get a challenge, it definitely depends on who is giving you the challenge, of course, but at my organization, we give it in more of like an email prompt. So here is an example of one. I manage a bunch of rental properties in Newport Beach. I am writing today because I have an app idea and I'd love to work with you. We currently have we have currently been playing around with the idea of creating an app that makes it easier for us to manage all of our rental properties. We are very busy individuals who are always on the run and would love something to help us make sure we're on time for our rental appointments. We are doing our weekly landlord responsibilities, and we have an organized view that allows us to flip through all of our rental properties quickly. We cannot wait to get started. Kind regards, Bob. Okay, so after I read the prompt, the first thing I do is clarify the challenge. So I would start to ask questions like, who's the target market? Who's the user? And what are their pain points? I would ask the interviewee, and hopefully they would respond. What are the business objectives? Are there any technical or business constraints that I should probably be aware of before I start? Is there a specific device that they're looking for me to design on? So for this, I am going to be speculating the whole time because I'm doing this on my own. But for this, based off of the email, it looks like there's potentially maybe two types of users. The first one is the landlord, who would be viewing the app or whatever it is like they are the user. So user one, landlord, I would speak as much as I possibly can out loud during the whiteboarding challenge as well. And then potentially I could confirm this with them, but the user two could probably be a tenant, maybe if they wanted to have like a two-way street, open communication within this app. They can use all of that so no one's using like their personal information to communicate with strangers. Maybe that could help, and it could definitely be something that they could use in the future if they were just looking to get an MVP right now. For this one, I'm going to stick with the landlord user. I'm just going to separate this out a little bit more. So I will stick with landlord. And then the next one is I would try to discover any of the problems that this person's facing. So based off of this email, it looks like there's a few problems that they are facing. The first one is they're having a hard time managing all their properties. They may be showing up late to some of their rental appointments, and they may also be neglecting their landlord responsibilities. So I'm going to write that down as well. And when you're doing a whiteboarding challenge, things can be messy. It doesn't have to be neat or anything because you're trying to work through it quickly. So problems could be something like they're having a hard time managing their properties. They are not showing up on time to their appointments, and maybe neglecting their responsibilities. My spelling is really shit, so you know what? I just live with it. So that could be some of the problems that they're facing. And then from there, he's also kind of highlighted like the features that he wants, which is he would like to have an organized view of this, of their rental properties, and some place to like store their appointments, and maybe also a place where they could see their responsibilities and make sure like their tasks are being done. And if they have like other people, potentially there could be another user, which is like the landlord's employees. So people that like work on the grounds and stuff may also help. So the features mentioned is that they want a quick view of their properties, appointments, and to-dos, maybe like for their tasks. Yeah, okay, so I think I like, again, this I'm just gonna hide this. You might not have a lot of time, so trying to go into like research, yes, would be beneficial. But if you do not have a lot of time for this particular case, I'm not going to have a lot of time because I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm going to go into the next step, which is something I think we do a lot as designers, and it's creating a user story. So I would focus on one problem or like one specific story, and the one that I'm going to focus on is, I think it kind of will revolve around everything, but it's more of like a dashboard or some like a one located spot that holds all their rental properties, that it will provide them with a quick overview of the rental properties. I'm not going to write it again. So from that user story, I would create a flow chart. Very, very simple flow chart. Something that people can follow, like their step-by-steps on how they're going to interact with this dashboard. I'm going to write this story in a little bit more of like a user story format. So as a landlord, why did I separate that? Landlord, I want to be able to quickly find a property so that I can ensure we are providing our tenants with the care they need. So that's just like what I'm going to work with. I'm just going to bold that. Yeah, so from this user story, let's move this and then start creating. I am not using FigJam. Definitely should have used FigJam, but we'll work with it. So a user using this app, they would log in. That would be probably the first thing they need to do. And then the launch page would be the dashboard. Let's write dashboard. And this is where they would see all of their information and like all of their rental properties. And I think if they wanted to quickly find the property, there would be some sort of filter and search system that will be built to allow them to quickly filter. And I think that's the thing that I want to focus on. That would be something that could take a lot of thought, and you could build like a very in-depth filtering system to help them quickly find this property. So I think I would continue with this filter and search system. So now that I have mapped out my user story and a little map, it's very, very little, very, very basic, just to show kind of how I would work through it very quickly. If you were in like a regular whiteboarding challenge, I would take a little bit more time on each section, as you may have like 40 minutes to work on it if it was an in-person one. And obviously it's only been about 10 minutes. So I think we're going to stop here. And so after I've done this, if I had more time, I would start to sketch. And by sketching, I mean wireframing. So something like creating the nav. I'm going to take auto layout off this thing. So this is like the website of some sort that it's allowing them to view it. And then we have like, hey, Bob, his name is Bob. Perfect. I just like randomly thought about that name. It's weird. Hey, Bob, this is his dashboard. So we'll be able to know it's Bob. And Bob will be interested in his rental properties. So maybe I will say like kind of like a happy thing, like here's how your rental properties are doing. Whoop. Awesome. And then I'm going to list, I think, everything, like all the rental properties in cards. And I'm going to do a 3-column grid just so we can show a little more in the card, but then also not show too much and be able to have multiple in one viewport. And then the filter. So if they wanted to filter, I have multiple like options for where we can put a filter. And what I think I'm going to do is put it on the left side. I'm going to put a search on the right side and search. And this filter will be something that could almost like, if clicked, I'm going to highlight it to just show that it's clicked. Let's say it will slide from the edge because it's a very in-depth filtering system, so it will need a little bit of room to show all the filtering options that we have. So that's what I have. And just so you know, when you're doing a whiteboarding challenge, it's not going to be pretty. Like, we're not trying to make it look pretty if the first, I don't think you would ever make it look pretty because you just wouldn't have time. And they're mostly trying to like kind of understand how you think. So after I've done this wireframing, I think it's about time to basically walk them through the solution. Yes, you've been walking them through your entire process when you're speaking throughout the whiteboarding challenge, but you could also walk them through like why you did a specific action or a specific thing if you didn't already say that, or they might ask you this before you tell or after you tell them if you don't tell them, but maybe you can beat them to the punch and be like, if I were to go back, I would change this, or I would spend a little bit more time on this particular section, stuff like that. And yeah, that's, I think, it for today's whiteboarding challenge. Please let me know if you guys ever experienced anything like this during a whiteboarding challenge. And if you guys have any tips and tricks that you'd like to share within the comments, I would love to hear it. Bye.